Reminder to be safe at those Super Bowl parties this weekend. It is a no-refusal weekend for Austin police if you are pulled over and suspected of drinking and driving. Which brings us to a serious topic, and that's binge drinking for people underage. With us today is Priscilla from the Texas Young Lawyers Association to tell us about their new research program called the Unconscious Truth. Priscilla, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me this morning. It's great.
Talk to us about binge drinking in underage people.
Well, what TYLA, along with the Texas Bar Foundation, is doing is we are trying to educate underage individuals about the dangers of binge drinking. And it can be summed up very simply. It's puking, vomiting, plus passed out equals 911.
Sure.
So once you see those two things happening, we want you to get help.
Absolutely, and kind of interesting how this came about. One of your colleagues got inspired by another story a few years ago.
Yes, it was a really tragic story. It was Shelby Allen in California. She was a 17-year-old, very vivacious, very active teenager, and unfortunately she had 15 shots of vodka in a 2-hour span.
Oh my gosh.
And her friends thought, well, we're just going to let her sleep it off, as I think some people tend to do, and she died of alcohol poisoning the next morning. So it was a story that she read in Good Housekeeping back in 2011 and was inspired to try to educate and pass along the Allen family's story and their message to try to prevent teenagers from continuing to believe that just sleeping it off is okay when you have someone that drinks that much in a short span of time.
Sure, and I think that's part of it. You're not only bringing awareness to the issue, but part of it comes with education, obviously, not just with underage people, but with of-age people on, you know, how to drink safely, I guess.
And that's exactly right. I think this program is not just going to focus on teenagers. I think it's going to transcend just generally as us as individuals. When we see a colleague or a friend in that situation, get help. And this program, it's going to be a 20-minute video that tracks pretty much Shelby's story and leaves sort of a cliffhanger and what happens to the teenage friend, because we do actually try to prosecute her in the video. And there's going to be a classroom discussion component to it that it will allow for students, both high school and college kids, to sort of go through the scenarios. What should happen to the friend, Hannah, and what should happen to the parents? What kind of civil and criminal liabilities could you face as both the friend and the parents when you provide alcohol? Because that was the problem, was that this was a party that was sanctioned by parents and allowed all these teenagers to come and drink, and then somebody died.
But there is a 911 lifeline law, right?
Yes,
Quickly explain that.
Well, what happened was that Senator Watson from Texas, he instituted, he proposed this bill, and what it does is it allows for underage individuals to, the first person that calls 911 to get help for their friend actually receives immunity. So they will not be prosecuted for whatever criminal charges some of those other folks might be prosecuted for, what they could be prosecuted for.
Better to reach out for help, obviously.
Exactly. We want teenagers, we want people that are underage or just anybody to call 911 when they need to and not feel scared about being prosecuted.
Sure. Thank you very much for educating us on that. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you very much.